Hey Beatle friends, how you all doing? Time to do a 600 subscriber Q&A answers video. I'm going to go through all the questions that were posted on my 600 subscribers Q&A announcement video. I went through all the comments, which consist of questions that users wanted to ask me as part of this 600 subscriber Q&A in honor of 600 subscribers on my Beatles Vinyl 85 channel. I'm currently at like 620 something or 630 something like that. I want to say thank you once again to the 600 plus subscribers for all your support, subscribing to my channel, watching my videos, and commenting on the videos. I appreciate it very much. Now, I have my phone here, and I'm going to be looking through the questions on there, and I'm going to answer them the best I can. So here we go. First question is from Andy Hall from England. Hey Andrew, how you doing? First question, what is your favorite time of day to listen to music? It usually depends. I can listen to music any time of the day, but I usually prefer in the middle of the day or like, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning, because that's when I'm usually outside doing my running, or, you know, I just woke up from bed and I just feel like putting on music. Usually it would be morning, I think, but any time of day is good, you know. But, you know, during the night I usually listen to ASMR videos through in my headphones. ASMR videos are usually my sleeping therapy. You know, when I can't sleep, I put on ASMR videos so I can sleep. So I would say morning. Next question, what is your favorite TV show? I haven't been watching TV lately, but I used to watch TV a lot, long time ago. So, I guess you'll consider me old school. There's so many TV shows I love watching. You know, I used to watch I watch a lot of Disney cartoons and some sci-fi TV shows and TV sitcoms. One of my favorite TV shows, I think I might go with the original Star Trek series from the 60s. Huge fan of Star Trek. And other TV show that, well, I've been watching the Three Stooges recently. I've been watching the Stooges for a long time, but I might go with either Star Trek or Three Stooges. But there's so many TV shows I love watching. And final question, do you prefer Beatles albums in stereo or mono? Usually depends. There's certain Beatles albums I prefer in stereo, like Revolver and the White Album. And there's certain albums I prefer in mono, like Sgt. Pepper and Rubber Soul. And I definitely prefer the first two albums in mono. It usually depends, but I'm more of a stereo guy. So, you know, if I just want to, as a casual listener, if I want to listen to the Beatles music, I would just play the stereo albums. But there are certain albums of the Beatles that I prefer in either stereo or mono. So the answer would be stereo. But I love mono. I love mono mixes of songs that are different from the stereo. So thank you very much for your questions, Andrew. I love your videos. I haven't been posting any comments to the videos, but I have watched all of them. So keep up the good work. I love your collection. So, all right. Next set of questions is from Lords Mikado. Hopefully I pronounced it right. If I didn't, sorry. Okay. First question, where or when was the first time you heard about the Beatles? I've been a Beatles fan for all my life. I was born in the mid to late 80s. My parents are first generation Beatles fans. They would play the Beatles music all the time when I was little, and I instantly fell in love with the Beatles, both group and solo. I remember when my parents we used to my parents used to do some cleaning in the house or fix food in the kitchen, or driving a car, and they would play the Beatles 20 Greatest Hits cassette, the U.S. version, which is the 20 U.S. #1 hits. That one I listened to a lot, and I loved it. I've always loved it. I've loved all the songs on that cassette. We still have the cassette, the original cassette that I listened to when I first discovered the Beatles and when I was like 3 feet tall, 3 inches or something, maybe 5 inches was my height when I was born. But where did I first heard about the Beatles? It's got to be in the state of Ohio, where I was originally born. So, okay, next question. Ever heard of the band Garbage? Yes, I've heard of Garbage, but I never really listened to them. I've heard some of their songs, but I haven't been really into them. They're all right. Next question. Where did you get or buy your Beatles shirts? I buy some of the shirts at either the Fest for Beatles fans or at shopping malls, some places. Some stores in shopping mall. At Spencer Gifts and a few other places. But most of the shirts were from the Fest, when it was originally called Beatle Fest a long time ago. So, thank you very much for your question, Lords, and thanks for watching my videos. Okay. Next question is from, next set of questions is from Beatles and Queen Forever. Hello. First question. What would you like to see being released in the future? Beatles and solo, etc. on Blu-ray, DVD, vinyl. Well, the obvious answer is the Let It Be movie. The Let It Be movie was about to be released in the early 2000s, around the time of the Let It Be Naked album, but that was delayed, and it's still not released to this day. I remember reading that it was almost released, but Paul, Ringo, Yoko, and Olivia put a stop to it, and Ringo mentioned that it needed more work. But Let It Be is definitely at the top of my list of the Let It Be movie. And I also would like to see demos, that the Beatles recorded, both group and solo. I like to see demos of Hey Bulldog and I think Bad to Me was released on the 1963 bootleg recordings, which was on iTunes. I like to see a collection of the Beatles demos that they made in the 60s. And I also would like to see the John Lennon Dakota demos be released, officially released. I have a bootleg of it, and I love it a lot. So, and and on vinyl, what would I like to see released on vinyl? It's hard. I like for the demos to be released on vinyl and some bootleg outtakes, but that's my answer to that question. I hope I answered it the best of my ability. Next question: have you ever been to London or Liverpool? The absolute answer is no. I want to go to London and Liverpool someday. I'm gonna try to make that happen in about a year or two. I have a passport. I'm gonna have to renew it when the decade ends. So I've not been to London or Liverpool, but I want to go really bad. So it's gonna happen at some point in time. Next question: which release of any Beatles material was the worst in your opinion? Well, it's either the Yellow Submarine album, which is half Beatles music and half George Martin orchestra, and the Love album. I was excited about the Love album when it was first released, but I don't listen to that album that much anymore. I do have it as a completist on vinyl, and I bought the CD of it when it was first released. But there are some great moments on there, like "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and I also enjoyed "A Day in a Life," and there's a few others that I enjoy as well. I think I like the version of "Get Back," which is on Love. So okay. And another worst Beatles release ever. It was I don't know. I think the Tomorrow Never Knows album, which was released on iTunes, it was an iTunes exclusive. And the reason I said that, I know it's it's an album of the Beatles rockers, but the problem I had with that compilation was they advertise it as influential songs, which is a big problem, because the Beatles have so many influential songs that are not rockers. So that's like that was a big problem I had with that collection. So those are the releases that I think are worse. Thank you very much for your questions, Beatles and Queen Forever. Next set of questions is from Sergeant Pepper Channel. How much would you be willing to spend for Beatles records? Usually depends. I can pay any price for a Beatles record. I can even pay a 4-digit dollar amount. I just have to save the money for that particular record. I can pay much. I can pay top dollars for, if I make enough money and save enough money. I can pay enough to where I can get something like the First State Butcher album, or the Black and Gold Please Please Me stereo pressing from the UK, the original one and not the counterfeit. And I could pay any price. It usually depends on the rarity of the item, but I try not to pay too much for the Beatles records. For certain records, I want to make sure that their price, the price is nice, and I think it's the good price to pay. Because usually certain albums would be like $100, and I would find some listings of those albums for like $20, and they would be in the same condition as those $100 plus listings. But I'm willing to I'm a crazy fan, so I'm willing to pay anything. But I do have to make sure I have money, though, because I have other things I need to use the money for. So all right, do you read and collect Beatles books too? Yes, I do. I only have a few books. My father has a big set of books that I used to read when I was little. I read certain books like The Beatles Forever and the Beatles Complete Recording Sessions by Mark Lewison. That was signed by Mark Lewison. That's also a great read. It's a Beatles Recording Sessions Chronicles from 1962 to 70. Really interesting read about certain songs, the recording sessions for songs, and I also read the Beatles anthology book, which came out in, I think, 2000, something like that. That's a great book right there, obviously. So, but the answer is yes. And next question, the last question from Sergeant Pepper Channel. Do you think Paul McCartney charges too much for his remasters? The past 4 releases of Paul McCartney's archive deluxe reissues, I think he priced them too high, a bit too high, because I don't think the content is worth that much money. Because I'm very disappointed with the DVD video for all the past 4 reissues. I'm talking about Venus and Mars and Speed of Sound and Tug of War and Pipes of Peace. I was not happy with the DVD content on any of those reissues. I think they're all abysmal. There's not much material on it. It's just mainly shorts and stuff like that. And it also has the music videos of hit songs from those albums. But yeah, he charges a bit too much for those albums when, you know, he doesn't, you know, put a good amount of unreleased material on the DVD. And on the bonus audio, there's not much, but the bonus audio for Tug of War and Pipes of Peace are nice because they both have the Rude Studio demos. But I do think he charged too much for Ram and Wings Over America. Those are like super deluxe issues. You know, they're like cram packed with a whole bunch of stuff on it. You know, I have a feeling that the next archive reissue, which is Flowers in the Dirt, that's probably gonna be packaged the same as Ram and Wings Over America. I mean, so I do think he charges too much for some of the deluxe reissues. So that's just my opinion, but I'm gonna have to answer yes. So thank you for your question, Sergeant Pepper Channel. Next question is from the next question is from Joe, MeanMrMayo. Hey Joe, what's going on? All right, first question from Joe. What is your favorite and worst Beatles inspired movie based on their lives as a group or solo? My favorites would probably be Birth of the Beatles from the late 70s and the movie Backbeat, even though the focus is on Stu Sutcliffe in that movie. And I wish I can add Nowhere Boy, but I haven't watched the whole movie yet. I've watched some of the scenes, and it does look like a good movie. It's just I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing yet. You know, stupid me. But that will change, obviously. But there are the worst Beatle-inspired movie based on their lives, group or solo. No, there are so many worse ones. There's some absolute worst ones, atrocious ones, which I'm not going to mention personally, and they're all movies based on John Lennon's death, but I'm not going to go there. But the worst, there's actually speaking of John Lennon, there is a strange John Lennon bio called which is a biodrama movie, and that's Lennon Naked. That's actually a kind of a strange John Lennon story film, in my opinion. That's probably my worst, along with the John Lennon death movies. I'm not going to mention what the hell those movies are, you know. Fuck those movies. So, alright, next question. Do you think it's time for Paul to stop performing live after this current tour based on his voice troubles? Well, Paul has been touring since I think 2008. I know he did secret gigs in 2007 to promote the Memory Almost Full album, but yeah, he's been touring every year since 2008, and he hasn't taken a year off from touring, which is interesting. The last time he took a year off was in 2006 when he was in the middle of a divorce with gold digger Heather Mills. But I do think, you know, I think Paul needs to take at least a year off. That's just me right there. I think the touring is also the reason, you know, he's not putting out new material like every few years like he used to. You know, because he's always on the road. You know, he's got to find time to go into the studio when he's not touring to record new music. You know, I'm sure he does a lot of writing during the tour. You know, when he's on the bus or hotel rooms, he has a song that comes to mind and he writes it down on a paper. But I do think, you know, yeah, his voice, you know, his voice strains a lot, and I do think he needs some time off. You know, and you know, he took plenty of time off. I think he took over a year off after Linda McCartney died, and you know, after he took the year off, his voice was better. by the time of the Run Devil Run album. So I do think he needs to take some time off from touring to, maybe relax his voice, because I do think it's it's sounding, Paul's voice, depends on the night. He sounds good on some nights. He sounds bad on some nights. So I do think he needs some time off from touring. Maybe take a year off. So next question: what do you feel happens when we reach the end of the end? That's a Paul McCartney song from Memory Almost Full. Well, all I can say is, let me get the answer to that question here in a moment. So yeah, that's a really good question. That's actually the end of the end. That's after Armageddon, But well, the end of the end. It is the start of a journey to a much better place, like Paul says. But well, here's how I'm going to answer that question. Just give me a moment. Okay. On the day that I die, I like jokes to be told and stories of old to be rolled out like carpets that children have played on and laid on while listening to stories of old. At the end of the end, it's the start of the journey to a much better place. And a much better place would have to be special, no reason to cry. So, that's what's going to happen at the end of the end, in my opinion, Joe. So, just have to live life while all of you have it, before the end of the end arrives. But it really is a journey to a much better place. So, but that was an interesting question, Joe. Thank you very much for asking these 3 questions. Now on to Ryan C. Hey Ryan, how you doing? First question: what is your least favorite song on the album Ram? I don't know if I have a least favorite song on Ram, but if there's one you want me to pick, it may be Smile Away or something, or Dear Boy. But I enjoy those songs. I'm not saying I don't like those songs, but a least favorite song on Ram is hard, because I enjoy literally every track on that album. But I might pick those songs along with the Ram Reprise, which is a little snippet of the Ram-On Reprise, which is a snippet of Ram-On. But that's just my opinion, But I really don't have a least favorite song on that album, because it's one of my favorite Paul McCartney albums. Next question: what was your first concert? I think it was the Beach Boys. I think my parents took me to see the Beach Boys when Carl Wilson was still alive, long time ago. I don't think Brian Wilson was with them, but it's got to be the Beach Boys, I think, and it was a free concert. And I also remember seeing 1964, the tribute, but they were called 1964 as the Beatles at the time. But they got sued by the Beatles for using the name. But I wasn't that impressed with 1964. I do appreciate that they're keeping the Beatles legacy alive, but there are much better tribute bands in my opinion. So, but that would be my first concert, I guess. The Beach Boys, and also 1964, the tribute. But back then they were known as 1964 as the Beatles. So, okay, next question. What is your favorite Beatles import album? I don't know if I have one. I love all my imports. But that's a hard question there. I don't have an absolute favorite Beatles import. So, it would probably be Beatles Greatest, with the hype, which includes the hi-hat intro to All My Lovin'. I may go with that. But or maybe the Beatles Beat, released in Germany. I think that's a really nice import from Germany. But I love all of my Beatles imports. Okay, next question is from Trish Mullins. Hey Trish. What do you listen to in your car, tapes or CDs? It's currently CDs. I used to drive a car which had a cassette player, but I got rid of that car, and I'm driving a car in which I play CDs. So it's going to be CDs. So thank you for your questions, Trish. Next question from Rick Turner. If you had to pick one Beatles album as your favorite, which one would it be? Probably Revolver. It's still maybe Revolver, or maybe even a White Album, or or maybe Sergeant Pepper or Rubber Soul. So, and I meant the UK version of Rubber Soul. Sorry, US fans. So that's just my opinion. But favorite Beatles album would it usually depends on my mood. Next question is from Anthony Forshone. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your last name correct. First question: Do you have a second favorite group or performer after the Beatles? A second favorite group usually changes. Usually depends on my mood, but usually it would be like Led Zeppelin, or maybe the Stones, or even the Who. More Led Zeppelin than the Stones, because I've been listening to them a lot. But it's usually hard. Second favorite band usually changes a lot. So I can even move the Who up there to number 2. So next question: if John Lennon had not been killed, do you think the Beatles would have performed at Live Aid in 1985? I think so, and I don't think so. The reason I say I don't think so, mainly because George Harrison was not that interested in Beatles reunions. I think George would have put a stop to it, even if John were still alive that time. So I would say yay and nay, to that question. So, and third question: as a collector, do you ever think about what should happen to your collection after you pass? Well, after I pass away, which hopefully should be a million years from now, I like my collection to be sold. My collection has to go to new owners, new generation Beatle fans and vinyl fans who want music from 50 to 100 years ago, when that time comes. So, I like for my collection to be sold when I pass. So, okay, next question is from Vintage Vinyl Australia. Andrew's the name of the user. Hey, Andrew from Australia. First question: what's at the top of your vinyl wish list? This one's difficult. There's so many things that's at the top of my vinyl wish list. Among them are the First State Butcher album, the Please Please Me Black and Gold stereo pressing from the early 60s, not the reissue. The ones that are on my number 1 are usually the Grail albums. If I could get my hands on those someday. I also would like to get test pressings of certain records. Like I have like one test pressing of a Paul McCartney 12-inch. So I'm happy to have that. But I have so many things that's at my number 1 on my vinyl wish list. So it's changing every day as I look at record store. Go to record stores. I look around. I see something I want. I'll snag it. And the same thing for when I go on eBay to do some searching for vinyl records that I really want. Also on other record websites. So next question: how long have you been collecting? I've been collecting vinyl records since 2009. I've always been a fan of vinyl records since my father started playing them long time ago when I was little. But I didn't get serious in vinyl collecting until 2009. 2009 was when I started to buy vinyl records, and I got my first turntable, which is a crappy Crosley turntable, which I haven't played much anymore. I haven't used that anymore. I'll probably use, next time I use it is for like a picnic or something. So, but yeah, I've been collecting since 2009. So, and Next question: what's your most treasured piece? I have so many, but if there's like the most definite one that's a treasured piece, there's a few of them. One is the Paul McCartney "Hope for the Future" secret record store day release from last year, which has the Sweet Thrash remixes of "Hope for the Future." That record, according to the Discogs and according to Record Store Day, when they released the information about that release, the writing that says PM and Sweet Thrash on the label, that's actually Paul's writing, according to Discogs. Discogs still confirm that it's Paul's writing, and the same thing with eBay users when they put that album up for listing on eBay. So it would be that. It would be the Second State Butcher album and the Please Please Me Black and Gold albums in mono, the original ones from the 60s. I have two of them now. One has a Dick James credits on both sides, while my second copy has a crossover. One side has songs credited to Northern Songs, and side 2 has a Dick James first pressing label. So those are my treasured pieces. I have so many treasures, in my opinion, in my collection. So thank you for your questions, Andrew. Next question is from BeatleCat1, Steve. Hey Steve, how you doing? Other than the Beatles, Blue Oyster Cult is my favorite group of all time. I have all their albums. Just wondering if you are also a fan, and if so, what is your favorite album of theirs? Mine is Secret Treaties, but all of their albums were very good, except for maybe Revolution by Night. Now, yeah, I like Blue Oyster Cult. I am a fan. Not that big of a fan like you are, but I do like Blue Oyster Cult. I like their music. Now, favorite album would probably, I think Secret Treaties would be my favorite, along with their first album. Now, I have seen Blue Oyster Cult in concert when at a fairgrounds in Northwest Ohio. Now, it's actually a classic rock bill where it has Foghat and Blue Oyster Cult and Survivor. Eye of the Tiger, Survivor. I didn't stay for all of Survivor. I left in the middle of their set because I was tired. But yeah, I was there for Blue Oyster Cult. I also enjoyed Foghat's set too. But Blue Oyster Cult was really good. I enjoyed their set a lot. But yeah, to answer your question, I do enjoy BLC a lot, Blue Oyster Cult. So next question. I know you're a big Beatles collector like me, and I know you have tons of their records and pressings, but do you feel like that maybe you're reaching the end of what's still out there that you don't have? Well, sometimes I think that, sometimes I don't, because there's still so much out there that I'd love to get my hands on. But recently I've been buying duplicates of albums as upgrades. But it would be yes or no, yay and nay as well for that question. But it's still a good question. So, yeah, I have so much Beatles stuff. Okay, I have all of John and Paul's solo albums. I have a few things of George and Ringo. But yeah, I do have all of John and Paul and George's albums. Now I don't have all of Ringo's personally. My father has Ringo albums. The records that I show in the Ringo collection video were actually my father's records. The first part. Now the stuff like Time Takes Time and Why Not and 2012 and Ringo 2012 album and Postcards from Paradise and the Ringo starting his All-Star Band green vinyl and the UK copy of Ringo, the Ringo album, and Blast from Your Past. Those are all mine. Now, someday I'm gonna have to get my own copy of Bukus of Blues, but get my second copy of it. I have access to my father's Ringo records. I really wanted to show them anyway. So I still need to get Old Wave on vinyl. I haven't steered myself to to that album yet. So okay, is this the last? Okay, last question. Last set of questions is from James Rockboy680. Hey mate, how you doing, James? Great to see a comment from you. So great questions, by the way. So hope you enjoy my answers, James. So okay, first question. As you probably know, I'm a massive Clapton fan. I'm a Clapton fan too, James. So I was wondering if you've heard him solo, and what do you think? Now, I've heard Eric Clapton's solo material. I love his work with Cream and Blind Faith and Derek and the Dominoes. I love the John Mayall period with Eric Clapton too. I also enjoy the Yardbirds with Eric Clapton as well. Yeah, I've heard his solo material, and what do I think? Yeah, I really do enjoy Eric's solo work. You know, I enjoy certain things like the 461 Ocean Boulevard album. I have a Timepieces, Best of Eric Clapton album. I have the Eric Clapton Crossroads box set on vinyl, which is like a 25-year chronicle of everything that he's done from, since the Yardbirds and to his solo work. And I also enjoy the album Journeyman from the late 80s. That's a really good album. I also enjoy From a Cradle, which is a covers album, blues cover album. I also enjoy that. But yeah, I do enjoy Eric Clapton personally. So another one I like to add is Behind the Sun. I also like that album quite a bit too. Has some really good songs on it. So okay, next question. What musician do you feel changed and developed the most through their career? That would probably be, in my opinion, David Bowie. Paul McCartney changed a lot too in his solo career, but I'm gonna have to go with David Bowie, because his entire career, his entire discography, it's not the same stuff all the way. It's not glam rock all the way. His early period are, there's a glam rock period, and then he went to like blue-eyed soul music with Young Americans, and then he started getting into more poppy 80s poppy music, and then his later stuff is like kind of is like contemporary, kind of contemporary. It's straightforward rock music. So I would have to say David Bowie. There's another one I like to mention. I think that changed and developed the most through their career. But David Bowie would have to be number one. So no, I would also have to add the Beatles too. I would say the Beatles themselves as number one, because their entire body of work it's not the same style, because they experiment with so many different types of music, not just rock music and pop music, but a lot of different things, like experimental music, and the hard rock like Helter Skelter and Revolution, and I Want You She's So Heavy, and obviously Revolution 9, the avant-garde experimental track. But I would have to add the Beatles there too. Okay, final question from James. What would be your top 5 go-to artists to play? Well, number one is obviously the Beatles. I'm gonna add both group and solo at number one. And sorry for the sound of the birds, but the rounding out my top 5 would probably be Led Zeppelin and the Stones. I would probably add Eric Clapton as well, and maybe Pink Floyd. But top 5 usually changes. But top 5 is hard for me. So that's just my opinion there. So Thank you very much for your questions, James. I enjoy your videos, Mike. Keep up the great videos. I watch all of them. I didn't comment on all of them, but I'm a fan of yours. I try to keep up with you the best I can. You have my 1000% support, James. So, all right, okay, that wraps up this edition of the 600 subscribers Q&A response video. I hope you enjoy my answers, and feel free to ask any more questions if you have any in this video, and I might do a part 2. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to the 600 plus subscribers for subscribing to my channel and enjoying my videos, and I'll talk to you all later. Thank you for watching.